one of the major issues we have in human resources, one of the biggest problems here in human resources is to secure positions for your talents. This is $1 million question here. Most organizations today struggle to retain their talents and find them positions, because look at the pyramid, for example. The base of the pyramid is huge, but it's narrow at the end. So not all the people will grow. Obviously, it will be, as they grow, it's more challenging for them to keep growing. There is one CEO for the organization, but there are many soldiers.
Welcome to the All-in Recruitment podcast by Manatal, where we explore best practices, learnings, and trends with leaders in the recruitment space. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channels on YouTube and Spotify to stay tuned for our weekly episodes. I am your host, Lydia, and joining us today is Ahmad Rajab of ACICO Group. Welcome to the show, Ahmad. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here, Lydia. Thank you.
So, Ahmad, what's kept you in the people space so far? So walk us through your journey in this field.
I'll tell you my story and how it's related to what I do in life.
Yes.
Okay. Personally, first of all, I grew up in a multicultural family. Okay. My mother is Palestinian, my father is Kuwaiti, and having different backgrounds, that opened my eyes to different culture. That was my first acceptance and welcoming to different cultures. And I didn't see it back then. I didn't see it as a privilege. I saw it as I'm missing something in my life. I'm not a typical Kuwaiti. But then I realized later on, especially now when I'm working, that it was a privilege to understand how you welcome other culture, accept other cultures. And that was the beginning. Growing up, of course, in Kuwait with multicultural family, and then I went to the States. I lived in the States for a while. I studied, and I got married with a Colombian woman. And that was my second interaction or second exposure to different culture. I was blessed with a baby girl. The marriage didn't last for a long time, came back to Kuwait. And then, I mean, I'm mentioning this part of my life, so you know how am I open to different cultures and different languages and different backgrounds. And I think this is in essence, if you want to work in HR, and we'll come to that later on. Personally, I'm a father of three. So in addition to my firstborn daughter, I have two lovely daughters here in Kuwait. They're Sarah and Lulu. And they're small, they're young, they're 6 and 4, and they're the center of my life. I can't wait every day to go back and play with them. In fact, I reserve some time every day to go back and play with them. And see them every day. Yes. Sometimes I tend to work after they go to bed, which is fine. We have to catch up. That's me personally. Professionally, I studied engineering. And engineering, I didn't know what human resources back then means. Okay, I came back to Kuwait. I was blessed with it.
Sorry, did you have aspirations to become an engineer then?
Yes, only engineer. Yes, yes, exactly. But again, this inspiration, Lydia, it's normally driven by the family. Okay, because you at a young age, you don't know what's best for you sometimes, and you listen to the father, the mother, friends, colleagues. Oh yeah, go engineering, and I chose engineering to be my career, thinking that I'll find myself in engineering later. Anyhow, so when I graduated, came back, I worked as an engineer. I worked in petrochemical business, and they saw me good in training, so they sent me to Houston, Texas to be certified. Came back, trained all the plants, and I was good at it. I found passion in training. Shortly after that, I started interviewing on behalf of the maintenance department. So any engineer or any employee who would like to join the maintenance, I used to interview them. So I was certified to conduct proper interviews. And then shortly after that, they asked me to do job descriptions. And hold on, guys, wait a minute. I mean, I'm doing HR work, training, interviewing, job descriptions. In fact, some days I was doing more HR work than my original engineering job.
I suppose you enjoyed that.
I did. I found passion in that. And in 2006, I made the decision to move to the purely 100% human resources. And since 2006 up to today, I've been through many industries and as well many functions of human resources up until 6-7 years ago, where I started to be in a managerial role. So I'm heading the human resources in general, not only specific functions. I was when I first started in human resources, it wasn't the same human resources today. The perception of human resources, it was personnel, archive, payroll. It was pretty much about the same thing. Yes, there were some initiatives to introduce the business partner concept here and there, some initiatives to put the HR on the strategic table, but it was really never implemented right. And the perception of the manager back then was not looking at HR as that they do have a seat on the table.
Right. Not a strategic role. It's not a strategic.
Not a strategic role. I consider myself one of the pioneers here in Kuwait who were able, with the help of others, to transform the perception of human resources from being personnel and payroll and archiving to what we are today in terms of strategic planning, improving leadership, developing a business. These kind of terminologies that we're applying today, and not only in ACICO, this is all over Kuwait. But my age and my peers, we lived through this era, which is the last 15 years, 20 years, and bringing HR up to where we are today. And so I'm proud to be part of this generation and part of this change that witnessed in Kuwait. In addition, I was selected to teach human resources in GUST, one of the universities here in Kuwait. It's called Gulf University of Science and Technology. What's unique about this, Lydia, is that normally the university, they hire PhDs. And I don't have a PhD. And I was pleased when I received the call and they told me, you know what, Ahmed, we're willing to bend the law for you, okay? Because we've heard about you, we know your experience, I want you to teach with us. And I taught human resources in GUST for 4 years, ended just last year when I accepted this job. So again, I find passion in training. I find passion in transferring knowledge to people. In fact, I'll tell you a secret. Sometimes when I'm not satisfied in my day job, due to, we encounter issues, problems, and whatever, I find satisfaction when I go at night to the university because my classes obviously are at night after I finish.
You're teaching full time, is that it? Oh, no, so you're teaching on a part-time basis, sorry.
Part-time, yes. Part-time, 3 times a week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So to accommodate my busy schedule, the university tailor-made the classes for me, then they kept them from 5 p.m. onward. So 5 to 6, 6 to 7. And I really find satisfaction in standing up in front of the students, delivering the knowledge and seeing the understanding, the content in their eyes. It really provides satisfaction and it pleases me in a way. I did that for 4 years. And then, of course, ended when I joined ACICO last year. And that's me in brief.
And that's ACICO for last year, meaning the end of last year, and now you're into this role full time again, right? You're back to HR as a full,
back to being dedicated to one job. Yes, one job. Yes, exactly.
And there's so many experiences that you just talked about, personally, even professionally, adding into or adding on to your professional role and enriching that, right? So in terms of growing as a person, I suppose HR can also I suppose that cultural background and that different points of view has also helped you see different points of view in terms of people, dealing with people. So in your current role in ACICO, I understand it's construction and building construction materials as well, right? Painting, all that. What are some of the key areas that you prioritize in your current role at ACICO?
When I took over, well, first of all, before I say when I took over, let me say, how did I take this position? It wasn't typical interview, Lydia. It was reaching out for help. So I received a call from the management of ACICO and Ahmed, we heard about you, would like to see you. Okay, fine. It started with a cup of coffee. The interview style wasn't really an interview. It was like reaching out for my help. Ahmed, we know about you. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 problems and would like your help. I could have not said no to that. It's like they're asking for my help. So how would I say no to that?
How would you say no?
And of course, I jumped on the opportunity with the passion and willing to help. When I took over, I found that the morale is down, motivation was down, energy was down, due to lousy management, especially started in the past. But it was surfacing now again, like the good things are surfacing, but that's the culture that was there last year. people, they were not really energized and motivated to work, to produce. There is no incentive scheme. People were recognized in a random basis. Like there was no policies for rewards and benefits.
I see.
So in absence of the policy, I really inherited a pile of requests and random cases and grievances and all, which required really thorough understanding and setting up the policy. So that was my role when I first joined. You need to have the empathy. You need to have the understanding, the active listening, to understand what's going on around you. Assess the situation. And that's what I've been doing for the past 6 months.
Right.
Today, we are trying hard to bring them together. I'm introducing some development for them. Not only development, some engagement activities. We opened an Instagram account, especially for people, and we're making weekly competitions and raffles and draws and gifts and rewards. We're making, I made a cup of coffee with the CEO. So every week, people meet with the CEO to discuss things other than business, by the way. We play now paddle from time to time. Training courses are back in business. We introduced training courses again. It was stopped for a long period of time. And in addition, of course, we're enhancing the benefit scheme. Our benefit scheme are really outdated. It goes back to 2016. So believe it or not, it went through COVID. It went through so many things, inflation and all.
In the HR or in the people space or in any business, there is a pre-pandemic life and there's a post-pandemic.
And post-pandemic life, correct. So it required some update, and which I'm working on right now, and I think we're progressing a lot in this domain.
Yeah, and in terms of that building, or rather just setting that foundation for all these policies to come to life, what does it take? What are some of those steps that you have taken in this initial stage where you come in and you look at a plan that isn't coherent, or a plan that you need to bring together so that you can set those processes in place? I mean, how long does it take, or what steps go into that? Who are the stakeholders that you have to work with?
See, Lydia, it's a good question. There is a formal way, or let's say an official way, and there is an informal. The formal way, which I prefer, to be honest, is do an engagement survey. And you don't do it yourself. You ask a third party to do it for you. And why? So the people can give candid feedback, because the moment they find out that you're doing the survey and you're seeing the results, don't expect much from them, okay? Right. Because they'll be afraid. I said, afraid of retaliation, afraid of revenge, and also they will not really give you their honest feedback and candid feedback. So you have to assure to them that it's done by a third party and you don't see the results. And the moment if you successfully get this message across, then you're getting good results. So that's step number one. You do an engagement survey, and the result of the engagement survey is your roadmap, Lydia. So whatever you see, then you can set up your calendar for the year. You know what you can focus on. Is it engagement? Is it reward? Is it retention? Is it succession? Is it talent, missing talents? What are the key areas that we need to focus on? So that's the official way, and that's really the chances of missing the target here is minimum, because you know what you have to focus on. The unofficial way here is that meeting managers, meeting people on a frequent basis. Okay, you need to gain their trust. Okay, irrespective, you're new. For them, you're old. Maybe they've been promised so many times before and nothing happened. Okay, they've witnessed so many management before and nothing happened. But how would you assure them that this time would be different? This is a challenge. Yes, how would you sit with them this time and say, you know what, this time would be different? It's not easy, but it comes with active listening, empathy, taking actions. Although, even though maybe you don't achieve the targeted result or the desirable result, but just by you taking action, it's good enough for them sometimes. So if you do take action in effort to correct something, and even though the desirable outcome is not achieved, the action itself is well recognized. And that's the informal way, or mix of both. So you could do the engagement survey and, of course, meeting people and do everything I just mentioned. That's the roadmap.
Yeah, and that brings me to the second part of that, or sometimes it can be simultaneous, or it can happen concurrently, building these foundations in-house as well as attracting top talent from outside. So when you've got a challenge like this, how do you position the company, or how do you position compensation and benefits to those whom you are attracting in terms of talent? You want these specialized skills. How do you go about that? I mean, have you faced any of these experiences? I'm sure you have.
Big time, big time. But to add water to the mud, not only when it comes to attracting talents, we don't only have internal issues, we also have external issues, like I was about to talk about them. For example, regulation issues. Now, in Kuwait, unfortunately, some nationalities are banned from entering the country and working in the country. So that limits my choices. So if I, with the internet today, I log in, I have access to the whole world. Now, with the current regulation in Kuwait, that limits my choices. And sometimes I cannot get the best talent because of the choice, because of the limitation in nationalities. That's one. Second thing is the standard of living in Kuwait. It's very nice. It's very balanced. If you want to raise a family, it's nice. If you want to live as single, is also nice. But it's not always the preferred choice for the talents. The talents always prefer to go to Dubai and Doha, and now, of course, Riyadh. And then, if they don't get any of them, they're okay to settle for Kuwait. So given this reason, it puts pressure on my job to attract talent. So in addition to the internal issues that I have a solution for it, I'm going to tell you now. We have external issues, regulation side, from the perspective of the standard of living, like I just mentioned.
Perceptions, right? Yeah.
Perception, yes, it's a perception, by the way. And oftentimes, this perception is wrong, by the way, because the moment they come to Kuwait and they find the balanced life here, not like in Dubai, the development, the freedom, the best economy in the world, and not like Doha, of course. It's kind of balanced, especially if you want to raise a family. The third external reason that we are also facing, and it's not a challenge, I would say it's a good challenge. It's not a bad challenge. It's a good challenge. The good challenges, of course, is the Kuwaitization or the nationalization. Now, we live in a country with 60% of it is less than the age of 25. 60%. So that puts pressure on the government to find them jobs. The government, in effort to find them jobs, they put quota on us that we have to hire Kuwaitis. Now, irrespective of the business, depending on the business, the percentages change. The quotas change. So in my case, for example, I have to hire a certain number of Kuwaitis. Now, the thing is, given the circumstances, now in some areas that Kuwaitis are not ready yet, I don't have experts in the field. So I'm kind of in dilemma here, whether to buy or build. That's a question that we always ask, buy or build. Now, buying seems to be a viable option, but with the current circumstances that I just mentioned, might not be the best and easiest option. Building, yes, it's good. It's a good cause. It's a good cause socially that I'm doing good for the community that I'm living in, but it takes time. It's not immediate. So you need to combine between building and buying, especially if you're operating in Kuwait. You cannot count on only buying because you will be limited, and you cannot count on only building because it will take time. So you have to combine both building and buying.
You're talking earlier about build or buy, right? So in this current situation, we're looking at, there are so many of these things, which is a long process, I would presume, to one, build internally as well as build externally and build that perception and employer brand. But in terms of making sure that you've got your priorities in place, which one would you go for in a situation where you're looking at the immediate needs of an organization, but you're also looking at making sure that happens concurrently, or that happens, or there's a trickle-on benefit to building?
Well, first of all, I have to be good friend with marketing. Okay, I have to shake hands with marketing. Okay, do whatever it takes, but they're my friends. Why? Because they will help me in the internal branding. Okay, I have to assure the employees, that's number one, that we have a new era, new management, new board of directors, and a new direction. They need to believe that. We were thinking with marketing, what's the best way to do that? And even we went far to the extent of changing even the logo, believe it or not, because people, when they see, The company's logo, because people and employees, when they see a new logo, they will associate change with the new logo. So maybe it's not only enough that we say that we have a new face, a new management, and new people, maybe also changing the logo. So we are serious about change. And we are serious about sending the message that we are new management, a new change, a new era. By doing so, hopefully we can attract more and better talents.
Ahmad, we've seen an evolving landscape of work, right? Particularly in all these different changes and plenty of recent global events. What might be some key takeaways you've had in relation to employee engagement?
I would categorize them, Lydia, in two main themes, I would say. Theme number one, we've noticed after COVID, people came back to office, and us as employers, we saw them less engaged and less committed to coming to office every day. Why? Because they still believe that they can be more productive at home. They've done it for almost 1 year. They worked from home remotely, and most of them succeeded and they got rewarded. Depends on the kind of business, though. Not all businesses can be done remotely, but for the businesses that can be done remotely, they've succeeded. They were more productive. So now bringing the same people to office every day and telling them about the importance of engagement, the importance of harmony, the importance of seeing them every day, meeting them face to face, it might not really click with them because they've done it remotely and they've succeeded. Because see, for the middle segment here, they really don't see the value because we have the helicopter view. We're seeing things from up. I'm seeing the culture in general, but from their perspective, he's just looking at his day-to-day work. And from their perspective, they can do it at home still. So why do you have to bring me to office every day, Ahmed? They don't see the reason. They don't see the value. And that's our struggle right now as employer or as HR. There is the engagement part, the culture part that we have to pay attention to, despite the COVID success that you've had. That's challenge number one. Challenge number two, or theme number two, dealing with Gen Z, Generation Z. Gen Z, now we see them in the workforce, of course. They're not only entry-level, surprisingly, now they're growing in their career. Now you can see them like almost mid-level. Yeah, almost mid-level, yes. So Gen Z, dealing with them is oftentimes requires more understanding. From what sense? From the sense that they are impatient. They want things fast. From another perspective, that they think that they can multitask. One task, no, they can multitask. They want to do things. They want to fill their day with more stuff. They want to work for more than one employer. They don't mind. So dealing with this mindset require also understanding of how they think, maybe bending the rules sometimes, accommodate what they want so they can be more productive. So I would say today, my takeaway or the themes that we should focus on is these two things that I just mentioned.
Now, in terms of change is great in terms of those who are looking for change within the organization. Now, in terms of engaging with employees who may not necessarily buy into this change, what happens then when you've got a group of employees? Not everybody is going to perhaps immediately look at change as a positive thing. So for those who are resistant towards change or a new way of doing things, what is the role of HR?
This is normal, Lydia. This is in every organization. And this is the nature of people, that they're resistant to change. Because we have people that have been in the company for 10 years, 15 years, even 20 years. They're in their comfort zone, as you know. So who is Ahmed who's coming now? He doesn't know anything about the company. He's trying to change. No, he's not going to succeed. Of course, no, he's gonna leave and I'm going to stay. That's a perception. So this is normal. And just by being consistent, Lydia, in what you do, be transparent in what you do. Let them see changes. Like I mentioned earlier, let them see changes. Yesterday, I took them in a retreat in one of the resorts here in Kuwait, and to show how we closed 2023 and how to link the reward to 2023. One of the employees approached me, said, Mr. Ahmed, I want to tell you something. I've been in the company for 23 years. I've never seen this before, and I've never known how the reward is linked to the performance. So this is just one example of the changes that we're trying to put out there and publish and speak about. So be transparent, make them see some changes, and be consistent. Okay, and don't worry, these people, if they're not going to change, they'll change. If they're not going to change, they'll change.
And there's also that element of putting yourself out there, being seen, building your brand, so to speak, in terms of making sure that there's trust that's being built. So how important is personal branding, or rather internal branding of your role and your role and how you would be able to contribute to changes in the organization?
Very good question, Lydia. I mean, luckily, I'm good in speaking and I like speaking. So it comes with the job.
Right.
So it helps really. It helped a lot. Like, for example, I came up in LinkedIn and Instagram in the internal domain, internal accounts, and spoke to the employees, and they were very happy and very pleased to see finally a face of HR.
Okay.
Of course, it helped that I'm okay in talking and expressing and telling them in both languages. In the past, they haven't seen this before in the past media, so this is new to them. In fact, to support what you said, we took one video where I'm encouraging people to come and approach me and say anything that they want. This video is played all day long outside in the lobby.
Well, one time is not enough. You got to repeat and repeat.
So it's like played out time repeatedly in the lobby.
How do you feel seeing it when you walk past the lobby?
I got tired of it. No, but it's nice because people always associate now the human resources to a picture. Finally, there is a picture for human resources.
That's what it is. So moving on to technology or the use of technology, I understand you're in the foundational phase of building and taking it to a different level. So in terms of using HR tech, or rather maybe in this instance, recruitment technology, or the increased usage of maybe generative AI, we're using ChatGPT all over the place, right? So in your experience, how has this impacted HR? You mentioned earlier also that when you started out in HR, it was a totally different HR, right? Then you've got pre-pandemic HR, then you've got post-pandemic HR, then you've also got generative AI influenced HR. So in your experience, how has recruitment technology or the use of AI impacted HR?
It went through phases. It went through phases, but let me talk to you about the AI in general, and especially AI has been a hot topic for the past, let's say, 7 to 8 years. From HR perspective, of course, it helps a lot in recruitment. When I say recruitment, I'm not saying selection, the actual selection, because in the actual selection here, you need the manual interaction, you need the face-to-face, eye-to-eye, to select the best nominee or the best candidate. But everything else, the whole entire process up until the selection can be made more convenient with the AI. Okay, for instance, role plays, interviews, screening, simulation. You name it, all these things can be done much, much better in the use of AI and more convenient. In the past, the candidates used to search for, the employees in recruitment used to search in the platform for a CV. It takes them 1 hour, 2 hours. Now with AI, few minutes. They get better quality even than the manual search. So in screening, filtering, even now role plays, for example, if you want to role play, if you want simulation with the VR technology now, you could do miracles in the AI, and the results are fascinating and fantastic, because you've never known that you can get much out of AI because of in the screening world. In addition, there is one thing also, the psychometric test. Now, linking the candidate to the job profile, it used to be done manually, but now thanks to AI, you can exactly know if, for example, Lydia is potential candidate to be the human resources manager or not, immediately, and with a much better accurate result, thanks to AI. And that's from HR perspective.
And that is also a way or pathway towards getting all the data and the analytics that you use to inform your strategies. So in terms of using this data, this treasure trove that you get from all the technologies that you would have used in your processes, I mean, in what ways do you benefit from that? Or in what ways does that sharpen the strategies that you have put in place?
In so many various things. I think one of the major issues we have in human resources, one of the biggest problems here in human resources is to secure positions for your talents. This is $1 million question here. Most organizations today struggle to retain their talents and find them positions, because look at the pyramid, for example. The base of the pyramid is huge, but it's narrow at the end. So not all the people will grow. Obviously, it will be, as they grow, it's more challenging for them to keep growing. There is one CEO for the organization, but there are many soldiers. So the biggest problem I'm facing currently is how to retain this talent, middle management, where to push them up. There is no room sometimes. So with the AI can determine exactly who's the best qualified, and can determine exactly what are my choices. It will help me. It will open eyes on things that I haven't seen before. Maybe expanding horizontally, expanding diagonally, give me a tree of choices that were not possible before. In the old-fashioned thinking before AI, I used to always think vertically. Where would they go next? But with the AI and with the linking the competencies to the job profile, there are other possibilities now that are on the table, not only vertical. So yes, AI does help in that.
Yeah, in terms of also making sure that you are either building or buying for specific talents that come in. I mean, that's great.
It will tell me that as well. It will easy for a simple reason. If the gap is huge between the job profile and the candidate, then you might as well settle for buying from the market, because building will take a very long time, and oftentimes it's even not achievable. So then buying would be a most feasible choice.
So, I mean, in terms of fostering a performance-driven culture, a lot of this comes down to your immediate supervisor, right? But in terms of HR, what role can HR play to foster that kind of performance-driven culture? You talked earlier about making sure there are leadership developments or development plans in place, putting all those in place so that people can look upwards or even look at the same level to see where they can go next. So what kind of role can HR play to foster a performance-driven culture?
It's easy said than done, but the solution seems to be very easy, but oftentimes it's difficult. Pay per performance. That's it. You just pay per performance. You structure a reward based on the performance. That's not based on time, not based on age, not based on anything else, male, female, not based on anything else, based on performance. You structure your bonus scheme based on performance. You structure your merit increase on performance, your incentive program on performance. All the rewards, you link them to the performance rather than other variable factors. So if the people see that they will be rewarded if they achieve, of course they will be incentivized to do more. Of course they'll work harder to do more. And if you manage to not only create this policy, but also to implement and let them understand this policy, you hit the jackpot.
But in terms of, we spoke a lot about all these anecdotes that you had, right? Building your experiences, looking into recreating a whole new structure or building that trust internally for a team. But it also comes with years of experience inside recruitment, and also imparting that knowledge to a whole group of new people in universities itself. So finally, just as a final question, what advice would you give someone who's starting out in the people space today? Today is clearly, as we defined earlier, it's a different day from 3 years ago on this very same day, right? So there's so many changes that are taking place. Maybe even the role of HR has changed. So what advice would you give someone who's starting out in recruitment today?
Lydia, have a heart. Have a heart. This is my biggest and most important advice that I'm giving to the youngsters and people who are entering the HR for the first time. Have a heart, empathize, listen, actively listen, not only listen, actively listen. with the willing to jump in and help and engage. See, I haven't mentioned anything technically yet, huh? Everything I mentioned is only soft skills. Okay, so heart, empathy, intellectual and interpersonal skills in general. Okay, not only empathy.
Some points of view say that these soft skills are in fact hard skills nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. So interpersonal skills, and people know themselves. For example, when I was an engineer, I found myself in the human resources naturally, because it comes natural. And if you have that, you will excel in the HR. If you have these soft skills, or I would say behavioral skills. I should turn my face away from soft skills, because they're not soft, like you rightly said. They're behavioral skills. And those behavioral skills, if you have them, then you will excel in HR, because the technical will always follow. How you can deal with the HR issues technically, this will always follow. I mean, I'm not worried about, but I'm worried about the behavior. HR is not policeman as it used to be called 25 years ago. HR now is an advisor, is a business partner. And if you have what it takes, then yes, you are in the right career.
Thank you so much, Ahmad, for your time and your insights. I think it's been generous and very insightful for our audience. So for those who are listening and who might want to connect with you later, where can they find you?
On LinkedIn mainly. I'm happy to respond to LinkedIn, but please give me some time. Sometimes I don't respond in the same day. It takes me about a day or two. So mind my busy schedule, but of course they are very welcome to connect anytime.
Excellent. Thanks again, Ahmad. It's been great. It's been a great pleasure having you on the show.
You are welcome, Lydia. I'm pleased to be here. Thank you so much.
And we have been in conversation with Ahmad Rajab of ACICO Group. Thank you for joining us. And remember to subscribe to stay tuned for more weekly episodes from All in Recruitment.